Hello everybody, it's Lindsay from the Vintage Button. This is take 2 because I just filmed this video and the camera had switched itself off. So let's hope that doesn't happen now. But it's Slow Stitch Sunday and I want to talk pincushions. I like my slow stitching to be a bit practical as well as whimsical, and we have done strawberry pincushions on the channel before. I think it might have been the first or the second slow stitch video that I did, so have a look for that. This is actually the original first ever strawberry pincushion that I made, and it was made when my daughter was very small and she's almost an adult, so it's been around for a while. It's got some stamping on fabric and a vintage button label, because the vintage button has been around in lots of different forms for quite some time. So that's an original. And then during the summer I got some tax back and I did some spending. I went to do some antiquing and allowed myself a certain amount of pounds, and I found a vintage sewing cabinet with everything in it for, I think it was like £85 or £90, and there was myriad beautiful cotton reels in all different kinds of colours. There was needles, there was bits of lace, there was old tins with odd bits and pieces in, lots of vintage buttons, but there was also some pincushions. So this one, if you've watched the channel before, you might have seen this is one of the pincushions. I've washed it and I've mended it, and it's like a hexy English paper piecing hexagon pincushion, and we will make this on the channel because I really love this idea, and it's again a very simple make and a step into English paper piecing, which I've not done a lot of. I've done like odd little tiny bits and pieces. So there's that, and that's got the needles that I've threaded for today, so I need to put that somewhere where I won't lose it. And then we have this one. So I've got this hand that's my daughter's drawing hand, and it's a wristlet. It's what a dressmaker would use, and they would probably put it on your left hand actually, because you would be pulling with your right if you're right-handed, and you'd be putting pins in and out of here rather than putting them in your teeth. You know, if you were making a dress or something and you were fitting it onto a bodice or onto a model, you would use something like this. Or if you were sort of mending curtains or something and they were already up, you would use one of these. And this has been handmade, and it's perfectly imperfect, and it was handmade by the person, or somebody else might have handmade it and give it to the person whose cabinet I bought. But yeah, it's been handmade. So it's a piece of elasticated lace, and there was some elasticated lace. I don't know if it was quite in that cabinet or if it was in another vintage sort of sewing bag that I got, but I've got some stretchy vintage lace, and it's just a wristlet that's been sewn on to a disc that feels like cardboard, and then something padded. Now I know from this that this was actually, it's cotton batting that this is padded with, and I feel it feels very similar in texture. And then there's a lovely little bit of lace that's been sewn on the top. We're not going to get that fancy today, but I've been looking at the construction of this. It's actually really simple, and I think if you can sew a button on, you can make this. And I think that the thought of making something like this is actually quite impressive. So if you're a beginner sewer and you're wanting to build up your own stash of sewing things, making your own little kind of sewing kit, this is a wonderful place or a wonderful thing to do. You might check out this video to make the slow stitch strawberry pincushions, and look out for this one. I don't think you can have too many pincushions really, but that's what we're going to make today. Now I've already made 2 examples because I made my prototype to work out what I was going to do, and I made one for the video that wasn't. So these are the ones that I've made, and they're very simple things, and they're a bit rough and ready. They're not nearly as neatly stitched as our lovely lady's one here, but you know what? I don't think it matters, because this one isn't perfect, and it kind of made me think that we should just have a go, because this one wasn't perfect. We can make these and they don't have to be perfect either. So I'll show you what I needed to make these and offer some alternatives if you don't have exactly what I have, and we can get on and make them. So we need some sort of elastic. Now if you don't have this, like elastic lace, you could probably use a hair tie, just something that would sit on your wrist, you know, a scrunchy hair tie, something like that, something that would be soft and would sit comfortably on your wrist. That would work quite well. So if you can't get hold of elasticated lace like this, you could use a hair tie. I've got some discs of card. Now I've got a couple of types of discs of card. I've got one that's just actually from packaging and it's one single layer, and I've got a thicker layer. So this one is for the top bit, the squishy bit, and this one is for the underneath bit here. So we've got two different thicknesses. And I've also got some, this is natural wool insulation that I get some medication that comes through, and it's all insulated with this natural wool. We made a teapot cozy sometime towards the end of the summer with this stuff. I have lots of it and it keeps coming, so we need to make some things with it. So that's going to be our padding bit. There we go. And I've also got some material. So I would use, this is sort of upholstery weight material. You could use cotton. I mean, she's used velvet and it feels like a cotton velvet. It doesn't feel synthetic, but you could use some synthetic velvet. In fact, I've got some this colour. It's synthetic, but my curtains in my lounge are this colour, and I do have some of that as well. So for the stitches, you just need a running stitch and a whip stitch, and I basically think that if you can sew a button on, you can do this. It's that easy. It's not difficult at all. So we're going to start, hopefully this will be enough cotton. I think it will. We're going to start with this one. Make a knot. We want the thicker of the two pieces. This is going to be the base, and we're going to make a yo-yo. I'm just putting that in there, but I'm going to put it down. We're going to make a yo-yo. Now in this country, yo-yos are not necessarily called yo-yos. They're either Norfolk or Suffolk puffs, and as I live in Suffolk, should we say a Suffolk puff? I don't know if that's very PC anymore, but there we go. That's what they're called here. We will call them yo-yos though. So a yo-yo is just a it's just a circle made from material. If I was going to make something with my yo-yo, I would be folding in a seam. If I was going to make something that would have the shape of a yo-yo. We'll have to do yo-yos in a video to explain, but we're going to make a rough one for this. So we just keep doing a running stitch all around the outside of this circle. I use pinking shears just because you can see it's a bit frayy. Is that a word? Has a tendency to fray. That's probably a better saying. So we are just continuing this running stitch so that we can draw on it and pull it taut over our piece of cardboard in a moment. So how are you all? Are you getting back into the swing of things after that sort of twilight zone of Christmas week? I've got my first full week of work tomorrow, but I'll be working from home all week, so it'll be alright. I can get washing and things done at the same time. So now I'm just finishing this off before I talk about the next thing I was going to talk. There we go. So we're just fitting in our piece of cardboard into our Suffolk puff or yo-yo, and then we're pulling it taut. You could do this with a lighter weight of cotton. I might want to, when it comes to this bit, double the layers, and that might get a bit tricky. But you could do it, it probably would work well with a lighter denim, you know, like a lighter denim weight, a pair of jeans that have worn quite down. That would, it might look really nice actually in denim. I'll have to see. These are something that I probably will make, and they'll get given as gifts to people, because now I've worked out how to do it, and they do look quite nice, I think. Or they've got the potential to look quite nice. So here we go. We can just knock this off now. That's not going to go anywhere. So if you haven't watched me before, if this is your first time, I try to craft sustainably. I junk journal and I slow stitch, and today is Sunday, so it's slow stitch Sunday. So there we go. We've got our disc that's got on our piece of card that's going to form our base. We're going to need our black thread now. Because we're going to form the wristlet. So I've pre-cut this, and you want it so, you know, you want it so it's not dangling around on your arm, but not too tight either. So I'm just going to sew a couple of lines using a back stitch on the diagonals. Oh, I can hear it's raining outside. There we go. Let's go back through here. So I'm trying to craft gently with myself during January and February, and not put too much pressure to do things, and just do things that I like to do. I find the winter particularly difficult. It's about the light, certainly about the light, but it's also about the coldness and the damp, and as I get older I find it more and more miserable, that January's. So I'm trying not to wish the winter away, but to sort of embrace it and just make it like cozy time. So I've got my little shawl on, and I've got my little heater on in here, because it's the coldest room in the house, this room. That's really why it's not used as a bedroom, because it's slightly bigger than my daughter's room, but it's still a small room in my little Edwardian house. So now we want to, do I want to flip it? What's the sewing like? No, we'll keep it that side. We're going to slot that onto our disc, and we're just going to sew around it, and we're going to do a whip stitch. Now the disc has got a little bit of give because it's cardboard. It is thick because it's got 3 layers of like a biscuit box, a candy bar, I think. I have to try and translate for different parts of the world. They were skinny whips if you're in the UK, because I'm trying to cut down on sugar generally, even over Christmas, and they are my treat because they are quite low in sugar. Well, refined sugar, they do have some sugar in them, but they're not as bad. So here we go, and we're just sort of whipping around this so that it sort of stays on. And as I've made 3 of these, I think one of them's going to go in the giveaway box that we'll be doing for January. So we're approaching 500 subscribers, which I actually started the channel a couple of years ago in January, and I made 2 videos, and then I don't know what happened, life got in the way. But it was actually in July of last year, for Junk Journal July, I started to record what I was doing with junk journaling. I decided, I think the first video I ever made, it was edited. It was quite a long video, but it was edited, and there was quite a bit of work went into it, and only a finite amount of energy and expertise. So that was a big stitch, Linz. I think that's why it didn't carry on. I just couldn't get my head around it. But once I sort of let it go and let go of the perfection, I think it is a perfection thing. Once I let go of that and thought, well, that's not how I'm not going to do that way. I'm just going to do it. I got into the groove. I have lots of energy in July, like kind of those summer months. Got into the groove of it, and the Vintage Button channel firmly came into being. So I could probably do with one of those needles, an upholstery needle for this bit. I actually think this is the trickiest bit. We're going to do a bit more whip stitching around the outside later, but this is the trickiest bit. But we're very nearly there. I could have done this before, but I wanted to make sure it was central, and you couldn't really guarantee that. Well, I couldn't guarantee that. I'm not that accurate. But tell me if you think I should do it in a different way. How would you do it? Have you made one of these before? It's the first time, well, it's not, I've made two. This is my third time of making it, but before today I'd never made one. I do think it's good to make your own supplies if you can. I try to craft sustainably, so I try to recycle when I can and not really buy single-use craft items. Now, in sewing that, because like obviously, thread is single-use. I'm not going to bleed all over everything, am I? No. But it's more in the paper crafting. I don't buy like stickers and things like that. And I also happily will make a mistake like today. I don't believe in perfection. I try to battle that in my own life. I don't think I'm a perfectionist, but I do get put off if I'm not done something well. And I do think it's good to strive to do things well. But I also think that we shouldn't allow that to stop us from doing or trying or enjoying. All of those things, really. So go. Like I said, this is the trickiest bit. Knock that off. More fingers and thumbs. I'm getting tired. It's about, I think it might be 8:30. Normally by now I want to be winding down, but like I said, I filmed the video, I put the dinner on in the oven, and I thought, well, I've got an hour, I can go and sit and have a faff and film this video. And I filmed it, and I think I spent about 45 minutes on it, and then I realised it just wasn't filming for whatever reason. In fact, shall I do a check now, because I'm just a bit paranoid? Yep, we are filming. Yeah, and I was just like, oh. So I went downstairs and we had dinner. We watched something funny on TV, and then I said to my husband, I think I'm just going to go and try and do it again, because I wanted to start, like, have a schedule and do my slow stitch stuff on Sunday. It just feels nice to do it on a Sunday and have, I like alliteration, so slow stitch Sunday just feels right. So he was like, okay. So I'm here doing the retake. So it's quite nice. I like to have projects that I can do in real time. I have no idea how long this is taking. I should have put my little timer on the side and then I have an idea of time. But I actually don't think, once you've made one of these, I don't think it'll take very long to make them at all. I do think if they're gussied up and prettied up, they'd make really nice gifts. I think that they would even possibly go well like in a craft stall, just as that a little something or other. It says getting all tangled up. So we will make a series of like small projects. I don't know what we'll be doing next week. I think we might start doing things made out of hearts because we've got Valentine's coming up and you can make some nice things with hearts. We also have Easter coming up and I've got an idea for a bunny, like a slow stitch bunny we can make. And there's an idea I've got on Pinterest that's decades old. Well, it's not, well, nearly 2 decades because that's how long Pinterest has been going. Probably, is it 18 years? I'd been married a couple of years when it came out. Yeah. So I've got ideas on boards that I've not done yet. This is a good excuse to do it, to investigate it anyway. So once you've done your line of stitching around the outside, get your stuffing. Now your stuffing could be cotton balls if you don't have like any wadding. It could be from the inside of an old cushion or pillow. It could be like cabbage, you know, like little tiny bits of fabric chopped up. It could be anything. An old pair of socks, as long as it'll make a sort of dome-y shape. That's all we need. So here we go. Look at that. That's made a nice dome shape. I could even probably put a bit more in, but I'm not going to. I'll probably put another layer in. But like I said, I'm not going to. I'm going to start sewing this up. And then I will show you the box that we'll put this one in. This one can be our giveaway one. That'll be the first thing in our giveaway box. I will let you know in the next video. So subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell, then you'll see the next video that I do. It may be a junk journaling video, but in a video soon when I've worked out how I want to run the giveaway, if you are subscribed, you'll find out. Very new to sort of managing the channel as well, and it's like managing everything else as well, kind of keeping order and stuff. Strange, I coach people on how to keep order. Be organised, and I'm not organised at all. It's not all what I do, but it's sometimes part of what I do. But there we go. Strange, isn't it? Right, let's put that to the end there. Now we're going to construct it. We're going to put the top and the bottom together. I was thinking when I was making them, if you wanted to make like a fabric afternoon tea, you could make macarons, you know, like with a stuffed Norfolk puff, and then make a thicker disc that you put in between and then another one on the top, and it would look like a macaron with kind of cream in the middle. That would look nice. So now we are just going to glue the two bits together. Well, obviously not glue. I'm going to sew the two bits together. Now you could probably do this in nicer stitching. I don't mind seam stitching. In fact, I should have chosen like a different colour, but it's up to you. I think this stuff's very forgiving. You know, it's got a little bit of a nap in it. You get away with using a navy or a black thread and hardly seeing the stitches. I'm using a crewel needle just because my eyes are getting old. They're easy to thread. So obviously I know that I'm not doing crewel work, but I actually found a set of those types of needles in this kit and started using them because that's, you know, I really enjoy just using what I find in that sense. But I got my husband to buy me another set as part of my Christmas bits and pieces. Oh, just a whip stitch all the way around. You'll see how quick, you know, this is. Not very. I don't know how, because I was like, do I do it in stages? Because I like the slow stitch videos. I actually do like some really long slow stitch videos. I like K3N Cloth Tales. I think she's a very interesting and thoughtful lady. So I like her park home life, like vlog style videos, and her slow stitch videos. I've never done sort of the eco dyeing, but besides that, I think and she's a proper seamstress, whereas I'm not. I'm just always done some hand sewing from being little. My mum actually is a machinist and can make anything with a sewing machine. She was a pattern cutter by trade, but I never really took to using a sewing machine. Would much, even as a child, I had a little sewing machine. I just preferred needle and thread. So, but the principle of like using what you have and under consumption, I would definitely like to. I already had been making the moves towards under consumption with not getting the single-use craft items, but I'd like to move more and more that way. I just have this thing about, like, I do crafting for my mental health and, you know, for pleasure, and I don't want to feel bad that what I make is actually detrimental to the planet, basically, and that's like the plastic and stuff. So I like to have an impact. There's no, you know, there's no judgment if that's not where you're at. That's absolutely fine, but that is what you'll find here. I think it's come from decades of buying things and not using them, and like, you know, recently I gave a load of stuff to charity, scrapbooking and other stuff. I mean, I do use things that I bought 20 years ago to do scrapbooking in my junk journaling, but it just, yeah, I think the readily made, really cheap stuff, I think there's like kind of a low price but a high cost. I don't know. Just my musings. Ultimately, you can only do what's the best thing for yourself, but yeah. I also like the treasure hunt, so I like going out and finding things, going to antiques places and having a hunt. I get a lot of satisfaction from that. Here we go. Oop. catching things. So we've sewn it all around the outside. Now I could put a ribbon or something. I'm not going to, because I actually quite like the naivety of it. That it's just a simple thing. I might neaten it up by just pressing the bumpy out bits, make them into little clusters. There we go. That's sweet. And we've got the dot in the middle. Right, let's just knot it off. I can't hide my knot anywhere here. I might try. Let's just do another one. And try and push that needle through somewhere else. So there's a bit of a string to it. I don't have my thimble on me. That's something we can make. I'll have to go in the garage and find some leather. But we could make a thimble. There we go. Lovely little wristlet. Is it a dressmaker's pincushion? I don't even know what you call them. But I like the idea that somebody made this like a long time ago, last century. Somebody made this, and that, you know, we can sort of look at it, see how it was made, and make our own version today. Feels like some wisdom's been handed down or something, that we've worked that out. Wouldn't it be amazing? Oh, see, now I've got ideas. I have some stamps that are like clock faces. I wonder if I can find a paper version. You could stamp onto some fabric the clock. Have I got a clock in here? Yeah, so I don't know how clean. Imagine if we'd stamped that onto fabric and then made that. I've got smaller ones. This is how I make my ephemera for my junk journaling. Oh, look at that. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Might have to do that one day. We will do a session on stamping on fabric to make embellishments and things. But there we go. Put it on the wrist. Make a whole lot of them. So, I don't know if it'll fit on. Stay there. So I'll end by showing you the prize box that we'll be having. So I've got this box. I've got a few of them actually, because we're going to do it throughout the year. And I have lined it with 80-year-old dictionary paper. So it's become a gift box. It was a chocolate box from Christmas, and we will fill it with things over the next few weeks, and then I'll give it away. So I'm quite looking forward to that. I'll enjoy making lots of little presents to go inside and then sending it off to the recipient. This will be open to everybody, so subscribe to the channel because you'll be finding out more in the near future. So I hope you'll join me, and I will be back soon with a junk journaling video and slow stitching every Sunday. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye bye.